It really was. I mean, it's a joke about the relation thing, sort of, but he he just made you want to do things for him. He just made you love him, and I think that we were all better people for it. He squeezed so much life into his 37 years. He's been all over the world. Um, he never hesitated to travel by himself. And the only thing I ever knew that he was afraid of was when he went to Naples, one of his very first parties with these people, these wealthy, wealthy people that you just can't imagine the wealth these folks have. And he was pulling up in the limo. One of his clients had flown him in to do their hair for this party and said, "Come on, come join us. I'll send my car for you." He was staying in a wing of their house, and he says it's a wing. It's had its own theater, and he was like talking and walking through everything. But when he got to that party that night, he called me from the car and he just said, "I'm scared. I don't want to go in." He was just really scared, and I said, What are you afraid of?" I said, "They're gonna love you." And he says, "Oh, I know, but I mean, how can I keep up this facade for so long, But that's just him. He was just smiling. He walked in, and they were like, "What are you wearing? What are you wearing?" And he's like, "Gap." And he just shows it up. And, I mean, he just works it. He works whatever he's wearing. So, I don't know if a lot of you saw there's a sculpture picture in there on the buffet area, and a letter that the lady wrote. Irene Dealey is the gal that owns Women of Steel Gallery, and she had gone to gone with Doug to catch him one night, and they went to a dance club, and he apparently did some signature move and had her thrown up in the air and catching her and doing some kind of thing like that, and that's where the sculpture comes from. Doug was her inspiration for making that. So anyway, so I'd love to have you guys see that, and also if you guys haven't signed the guest book, or if you just signed it and you wanted to maybe get a picture or something that you saw, we would love to have you put your contact information in that book so that we can get back to you or get you a picture if you'd like to have one. So um, you're more than welcome to share a memory if you have one. We'd love to hear from you. I've also got some notebooks on the tables, and if you'd like to put in your memories, how you met him, just something funny, it would be great for us because we don't hear all these things all the time. So we would love to be able to, pick that up and read about Doug, maybe when we're feeling down or something and miss him. So if you could share those with us, we'd be grateful. Thank you.
Mom, can you remember anything?
Well, I can tell you all the stories that he embarrassed her about. Doug was, just a creative her hand. Like, "Are you making fun of me?" He just, there were so many different things. I think I asked her the other day, I said, "Was it him that depantsed you?" And she said, "No, honey, it was you." So it was me that got depantsed in the store, but yeah, I remember that. And then he'd be like, "Mom, don't hit me, don't hit me." And she'd be like, "I'm not touching you." I mean, nowadays we'd all be in trouble. But, back in the day, when he was younger and just coming up with his, he was not so shy then,
Hang on to her leg.
Don't
leave me. Don't make me stay here.
He just lived to just, not to embarrass her, but just to have that, he wanted to always make her smile.
That was his way of bonding with Mommy.
It was. The neat thing though is seeing how they, I don't know, their relationship. It was pretty cool. I've never been jealous of it, believe it or not, but
I was.
He and my mom were best friends, and the one thing that Doug did is he risked a lot. He risked taking chances on business and decisions and things like that. He was constantly an entrepreneur about things, and I remember one time I wanted to open a business. I had a good sound plan, I thought, had worked out the loan, had worked out all that stuff, and my mom had sat there and like, think about this, think about that. She talked me right out of it, I mean, Doug is like, "Are you sure you can do it?" Okay. I mean, she just trusted that I'm not jealous, really. I just trusted. She just trusted that he would make it work. And even if he didn't, it would always be okay, because that just, Doug just made everything okay. He was my little brother, but yet he would rescue me from so many things, for myself, a lot. And he was such a giver. And I don't know. Now I'm
Austin.
back to that same thing again. What?
You need to tell your story, Austin.
What's that? Which one?
I'll tell it. There was a month that Austin and I lived with Doug when I was going through a divorce, and Austin was about 9, I think, 8 or 9, and you know, not knowing of the lifestyle or anything, he had discovered girls, and he wanted to talk to somebody about it, and I was like, okay, so let's talk. Austin wanted to talk. Austin wanted to talk to somebody about but I told him, I said, you know, well, what do you want to know? What's going on? And he goes, no, not you. I want to talk to Uncle Doug. I want to talk to a real man about girls. and Doug's over there, yes, yes. And I was like, don't you mess this up. And they go upstairs and go in the bedroom, and I stood outside the door with my ear there, and he was so wonderful. Doug, I mean, I swear, I think his chest got bigger by the time he came back out of there. He was so proud of himself, but it was just, they had the best talk, but it was so cute. I just thought it was so cute that Austin was like, I want to talk to a real man about women. Doug's like, yes, yes. So I just popped into my head. I had to tell that story. Thanks for permission.
No.
Oh, Peggy.
Yeah,
Trying to help him out.
Jackie and Doug had kind of a little tradition. They would come home from school quite often, and on the way home, walking down Goldenrod, they'd pick a little bouquet of dandelions. And they'd come and ring the doorbell to bring me flowers. And I treasured those dandelions because they were given in such a spirit of love. And about 2 or 3 years after you guys had left Goldenrod, Jackie came to see me and she gave me a little plaque, and it still hangs on my wall today. And it was a plaque with a little girl holding some flowers. And you know, Doug loved animals, and there were always some little black labs next door. At one point in time, there were quite a few little black labs, and the back door, someone was knocking on the back door rather feverishly one afternoon, and I don't even remember which one of you it was, but they said, Doug, put one of the puppies in the freezer.
It was the cat.
The cat.
It was deceased.
And he wanted to cool it off. Yeah, he wanted to cool this pet off because he didn't want anything to suffer or be hurt. And we have very pleasant memories of the whole family. We really enjoyed those years. The kids played back and forth, grew up together, and shared a lot of happy times. And it's, I know, really hard for all of you to have said goodbye to Doug at this young age. But our hearts are with each
And
other.
we know the real names of the names that were in that story you read. They were there but changed to protect the innocent. We know the real people. The cigarette butts and all that.
The cigarette butt. I didn't even know you did that.
Thank you, Peggy. To share, like I said, the books are on the table. You could, write them down, write the memories down for us if you would. We'd really appreciate it. And thank you for coming. Thank you for being here for us. We really appreciate it.
On the TV in there, Mark, beautiful house this is. Thank you.
Do you mean John?
John?
John and
Scott.
John and Corolla.
Corolla,
Here.
yeah, sorry. That's Mark. I was looking at He did a beautiful little thing on the video on TV of some pictures of Doug, and there's also pictures in here up on both of the boards of some different Doug faces that we've all seen. So, you have a beautiful home.
So
Thank
much.
you.
I really appreciate this, John.
guys. There's lots
They've done
of
a
food
lot of
inside.
preparation for us being here, and I mean, they do have just a beautiful backyard, and you guys. Now, did it used to be House of Flowers? Someone said that to me earlier. It did. Okay, and so now it's Carpenter Floral that they own, and they just have a beautiful home and a beautiful backyard, and we really appreciate them lending it to us tonight. Okay. Thank you. Next week. Yeah. I love it. I love it. Yeah. He's going to Sweden to get married. Yeah. Congratulations, by the way. I'm happy.
Actually, this isn't a plug, but I guess I'm doing some advertising here. Folks, every time I would get flowers at work, I think, oh, somebody loves me. You know, and the receptionist would call down, and I'd look down the staircase, and I could see this arrangement that was just incredible. And I was like, Stacy loves me.
It was always from Carpenters. Yeah, always.
And it was like, oh my gosh, that you guys just make the most beautiful arrangements. So thank you.
And all the flowers inside, I touched one. I went, oh, they're real.
They're real. They're not really
They were all fake too.
If there's any licensing involved.
I'm not sure.